Hello and welcome or welcome back. My name is Justina. Welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. So here today I'm going to talk about Mars in Pisces transit, and this transit starts on March the 22nd and it will last until April the 30th. So pretty much the whole of April and the final days of March will be under the influence of Mars in Pisces. So here Mars takes around 2 years to go through the whole of the zodiac. So pretty much every 2 years we go through a similar transit. So similar area of life is activated by Mars roughly every 2 years. Mars is the ruler of a masculine sign Aries and also the traditional ruler of the feminine sign Scorpio. Mars and Pisces represent very, very different energies. And here with Mars Mars rules our energy, courage, motivation, drive, that ability to assert ourselves and our self-confidence. And here Pisces stands for dreamy, creative, compassionate energy. Mars in Pisces is not strong. With Mars in Pisces, we'll have to push a little bit further and work on that self-motivation, because at times there could be that lack of direction, confusion, lack of clarity in place. When Mars travels through Pisces, it can bring a time of increased sensitivity, intuition, creativity. Pisces is a water sign that is associated with imagination, emotions, spirituality. And when Mars moves through this sign, it can activate these energy within us. Mars in Pisces can make us feel more in touch with our emotions, and it can make us more empathetic towards others. This can be an amazing time for engaging in artistic or creative projects that help to connect us with our inner selves. Now, on the other hand, this transit can also bring a certain degree of challenges when it comes to assertion or that ability to assert oneself, and also motivation. Pisces is a gentle and easygoing sign, and Mars is a planet associated with drive, action, passion, motivation. And this can create a feeling of conflict between our desire to take action and the passive or dreamy energy of Pisces. Overall, this can be an amazing transit for focusing on personal growth, personal development, self-discovery, rather than external achievements. It can also be a great time for practicing compassion and empathy towards others, and for engaging in activities that promote emotional healing and spiritual connection. Now, here on the 10th of April, Mars will conjoin with Saturn here. Saturn is now in Pisces, so we will begin a new cycle between Mars and Saturn, and these cycles last roughly 2 years. So this time around, this will be a Mars and Saturn conjunction in Pisces at 14 degrees. Now, this conjunction can bring an increased pressure, challenges, or even limitations. Mars, as I mentioned earlier, is connected to action, drive, and energy, while Saturn is connected to structure, discipline, boundaries, responsibility, limitations. And when these two planets meet together, this can create a feeling of tension, the conflict between our desire to take action and practical limitations or responsibilities we are facing. Now, here with Saturn and Mars conjunction, for some, this could play out in a way that you might feel like you're not able to fulfill your goals, purpose, or objectives because something or someone is holding you back. You might feel discouraged or demotivated even, as your energy levels might be low. Now, on a positive note, on the other hand, this energy is fantastic for practicing patience, discipline, perseverance. It can be an amazing time for focusing on long-term goals and for putting in the hard work and effort required to reach those long-term goals and objectives. Perhaps this is a time to step back and look at your priorities, at what truly matters at this point in your life. On the one hand, yes, this could be a challenging transit, but on the other hand, there's this amazing opportunity for growth and self-improvement. All right, so here we go. Now, let's see what this transit means for each rising sign. Of course, you can also watch it for your moon sign or your sun sign if you wish. So here we go. I'll share my screen with you now. All right, so hello, Aries. So what I will do first, I'm going to tell you about Mars in Pisces influence in your 12th house. And then we will also look at Mars and Saturn conjunction. So basically, when Mars is in the 12th house, this is a time when you might have a tendency to repress anger because the energies are hidden. Very often it's difficult to release the energies of the transits or activities happening in the 12th house. So overall, with Mars in the 12th house, it's really, really important to implement a little bit of physical activity into the day, into your routine. Martial arts seem to be very popular, but even like a walk in nature or swimming, something that will help you to release the excess of energy that you would have accumulated throughout the week, throughout the day, and so on. Mars in the 12th house is great for working independently. You can really focus your energies constructively, and it's generally here, it's an introspective time. Yes, you will be contemplating and reviewing your options, your life, but at the same time, it's a time of reflection, spiritual awareness as well. And overall, during this time, it might be easier for you to tap into your intuition, connect with your subconscious mind. So if you enjoyed spirituality and spiritual work, this sort of topics and dynamics, and here this transit can motivate you to dive deeper, and you might go through this amazing and interesting self-discovery. Now, at the same time with the 12th house activity, this could be a time when it might be difficult at times to assert yourself, to stay motivated at times as well. And you might find it difficult sometimes to take direct action in the external world. Perhaps at times you might simply lack energy. So if you feel frustrated during this time, if you feel like your desires are suppressed, or if your emotions are high, and if they rise to the surface, you will really, really benefit from engaging in activities that promote inner growth. Also, meditation, yoga, this can help you with your mental health, with your emotional well-being. If you feel restless, then physical activity will be great. It's also a great time for creative pursuits, projects, activities. And overall here, Mars in the 12th house, it really increases your imagination. It increases creative side of your psyche, without a doubt. When Mars meets with Saturn, this activity will be already felt, I think, in the initial days of April, I would think already, because Mars is in the same sign as Saturn, approaching Saturn. So you could already feel that in the initial days of April. And can be a time of some tension, but at the same time, it might be, especially depends on your circumstances, on what you will be doing around this time. But if you feel like you're hitting a wall or experiencing some obstacles at every turn that you take, then perhaps Saturn is trying to tell you, metaphorically speaking, that you need to implement some more structure, responsibility into the goal that you're working on, into the challenge you are dealing with. At the same time, if you feel like you are being held back from achieving your goals, from expressing yourself fully, then perhaps you're thinking about changing your strategy. Perhaps you're thinking about doing things differently. During this time, you might have to implement more work into reaching your goals or objectives. Perhaps this is about implementing more effort as well in order to achieve your desired goals. Perhaps this is a time to step back, or perhaps take a little break in order to see things from a different perspective, different light. Perhaps you will be reassessing your priorities, your strategies for achieving your goals, for succeeding, moving forward. And in a way, this is also connected to closing a certain chapter in your life as you begin to enter a brand new cycle with Mars moving into your first house on the 30th of April. And also, you might have to find a healthy balance between your desire to take action, to move forward with a specific goal, idea, relationship, whatever it is, and also the responsibilities that you are facing at this time. All right, so let's have a look at the next sign now, and that's Taurus. Taurus, for you, this is happening in your 11th house. So here your friendships, group activities are emphasized and highlighted. And what this means is that when Mars is in your 11th house, this could bring a lot of energy and drive when it comes to your social side of life, social life, friendships, group activities. You might feel more assertive around this time, confident when it comes to reaching your social goals, aspirations, and perhaps you could be more willing to take risks as well, or take action, take a stand in your social life in some way. Here, generally, Mars in the 11th house increases activity in your community involvement. You might feel more motivated to engage in group activities, in social causes as well. However, there's also a potential for some challenges around this time because, of course, Mars is connected to that fiery and feisty energy. And this could also indicate that there could be, don't have to be, but there could be conflicts or power struggles within groups, or perhaps a tendency towards impulsiveness when it comes to social activities, friendships, especially I think when someone stands in your way or perhaps blocks your efforts, disagrees with your opinions. This sort of clash of energies could lead to a potential conflict. So it's really important to be overall mindful of your words, of your actions during this time, and use the energy of Mars in a productive way. But also here with Mars in the 11th house, it's also essential to just concentrate on building healthy and meaningful connections with others around this time, while also being mindful of your own needs and boundaries. I think the issue of boundaries might also come up here around this time. On the 10th of April, we've got Mars and Saturn conjunction. And here, this will be yet again highlighted in your area of groups, friendships. Here, since the 11th house is also connected to our long-term goals and plans, Mars here overall in Pisces can motivate you to reach some of your goals and desires, especially here, the ones connected to spirituality, self-growth, self-development, this kind of dynamics. Now, when Mars meets with Saturn on the 10th of April, this can indicate a time of heightened attention upon your friendships, social networks, long-term goals as well. And with Mars and Saturn conjunction, this could indicate perhaps some challenges or obstacles in group activities. But here with determination, with effort, you can more certainly overcome these challenges, especially since Mars will sextile your ascendant. So there is this nice and harmonious energy with your ascendant, even though Mars and Saturn could bring up some challenges and some situations you have to face and deal with. Now, at the same time, it's here with Mars and Saturn, it's really important to be disciplined and to generally avoid conflicts or power struggles with friends, colleagues during this time. And perhaps this is also when you are generally learning to resolve certain issues, dilemmas in a more harmonious way, seeking compromise. So if you feel frustration when it comes to that inability to reach your goals as quickly as you would have hoped, for example, then try to use this energy into some constructive collaborations, teamwork, especially when it comes to achieving common objectives during this time. Now let's move into Geminis. Geminis, this is your 10th house. Your career here is emphasized. So usually when Mars is in the 10th house, there's a lot happening in the career, in the work sphere, projects and multitasking. And overall, it's a really busy time. Now, overall here, with Mars in the 10th house, There is a lot of energy and drive that is dedicated towards career reputation and career image, professional life growth and development, public image as well. You might feel more assertive, more confident when it comes to reaching your professional goals, ambitions, aspirations. And overall, you might be more willing to take risks even in your career ladder, especially if it means that you can move up, that you can reach a substantial goal or desire objective. Now, here, this transit can also bring increased activity in your public life. You might feel more motivated to generally make an impact of some kind and establish your reputation in your field. However, of course, with Mars, there's also often a little bit of that dynamic energy, and you have to watch out because there could be some conflict or some potential for some challenges here in the workplace or a tendency towards overworking or burning out. So here it's with this transit, it's really, really important to be mindful of these tendencies and channel that Martian energy in a productive way, because you can really achieve a lot when Mars is in your 10th house. So perhaps this is you could use the excess of that Martian energy into achieving your career goals, professional life development courses, and perhaps this could be also about some increased engagement in a networking event situations to expand your social network connected to careers, especially. Now, on the 10th, Mars and Saturn will meet at 14 degrees of Pisces, and this can indicate a time of hard work, determination, perseverance, and especially when it comes to achieving your goals, objectives. Perhaps you'll be dealing with some important deadlines. This is a time to really, really concentrate on what you're doing. And perhaps this is a time when you have to really purely dedicate your energy towards your work around the 10th of April to make sure that you can reach your objectives, your goals. And overall, this is a time when you will have to concentrate on dedication, because you can really, really succeed as long as you put enough effort, as long as you put enough energy and, good planning and self-discipline. This sort of energies will have to be implemented, while also staying away from any impulsiveness, aggression when it comes to reaching your goals, reaching your objectives at this time. Okay, so let's now look at Cancer. Let's look at Cancers. For you, this is your 9th house, Pisces. And with Mars in the 9th house, very often we have this really strong urge for travel, for freedom, independence as well. And overall, with the 9th house energy resonating, especially around April, with that. Well, Mars will be in Pisces throughout the whole of April, pretty much. And in the final days of March, this is when you will be kind of using your energy and drive when it comes to perhaps redefining your belief system, your life philosophy. Perhaps you'll be studying for an exam, and there could be a lot of activity at your university, for example, at this during this time. You might feel more assertive and confident when it comes to pursuing any intellectual or any spiritual projects during this time. You might be more willing to take risks, to explore new ideas, new horizons, new perspectives as well. Now, the countries and the cities connected to that Piscean energy include Portugal, Normandy, northern Egypt, Rome in France, Calabria in Sicily, Worms in and Ratisbon in Germany, and Compostela in Spain. So you might be traveling to these locations or one of these locations. But at the same time, this transit, while it increases your desire for travel, adventure, generally, you might feel really motivated to explore new places, new cultures, to connect with people from different cultures, backgrounds to yours. And at the same time, you need to be mindful of any power struggles or conflicts when it comes to your philosophical or religious beliefs, or perhaps a tendency towards impulsiveness when it comes to travel or spiritual practices. So Here, use the excess of that Martian energy and perhaps concentrate on expanding your knowledge, your horizons. And now on the 10th, Mars and Saturn will conjoin in Pisces at 14 degrees in your ninth house. And this can generally indicate a time when you might be really working very hard on a project. It could be a work project, it could be a business plan, it could be anything to do with travel, spirituality, higher education, whatever it is here. This is a time when you can really, really grow and move forward in these areas of life. But at the same time, you will have to be equipped with patience, perseverance, and generally take any obstacles and challenges that come along or emerge as a lesson, as a valuable lesson, rather than just an obstacle. Now, with that ninth house energy, you might feel also driven and motivated to work on any visa, passport applications, passport renewal, for example, any legal documents. Leo. For Leos, this is the eighth house activation. Transformation and regeneration here is highlighted. Now, generally, Mars in the eighth house can bring a lot of drive and courage to your intimate side of life. Perhaps you'll be working on anything to do or that is connected to resources, shared resources. And this is also the area of personal transformation, healing your intimate life, business partnerships, mortgages, debts, taxes, insurance. This sort of things are also prominent here with Mars in the eighth house. And you might feel also more assertive and confident when it comes to dealing with your deeper connections with others. So perhaps you'll be more willing to take risks and especially when it comes to exploring your own emotional and psychological side of psyche. Now, here with the eighth house being the house of finances, but not generally necessarily your income, but rather money that comes through different sources than our regular income, but it is also inheritance and investments, bonuses, insurance payouts. And this transit could indicate increase in your financial and material activity overall. But you might feel also motivated to make positive changes when it comes to how your finances, resources are shared in your household, in your business, for example. Now, this transit can also bring some challenges as per that Martian influence, and watch out for any struggles in your intimate relationships. There's a tendency towards impulsive decisions as well, especially the ones regarding finances, shared resources, business related matters. So overall, it's really important to be mindful of these tendencies and use that Martian energy in a constructive way, productive way. Concentrate on building healthy and maintaining healthy connections with other people. Concentrate on healing, on perhaps resolving any financial issues, especially when it comes to any debts or loans you may have. Now, you might be also dealing with accountant, or perhaps this is connected to even a new career that you want to enter, connected to finance, accounting, for example, or insurance. Now, on the 10th, on the other hand, we've got this Mars and Saturn conjunction in Pisces at 14 degrees. And this could generally indicate a time when you may need to confront some issues related to power dynamics, control, trust in your intimate relationship, or some deep connections, partnerships. Or perhaps this could be also about implementing the necessary changes into the financial area of your life. Loans, debt, mortgage, or shared joint resources. So overall, during this time, it could be about working together to find solutions that will benefit and involve everyone involved. So it doesn't have to be you working on your own or dealing with a certain financial situation or something of a deep emotional, psychological matter. You don't have to resolve this on your own. You don't have to be alone with this problem. This could be about you and someone else resolving this dilemma, this issue, this matter. And finding a solution to this obstacle, for example. Now, this transit can also bring urgency and drive to achieve some financial goals. Or perhaps this is about making some important investments, especially since we are going to start a new series of eclipses this year on Pisces and Virgo axis. So this January Mars in Pisces transit and Mars and Saturn conjunction could be connected to some major investments that you are thinking to make in the near future. Now, avoid impulsive or risky actions, especially the ones that could lead to loss or some complications down the line. Okay, so now let's see what's happening in Virgo's chart. Virgo's, this is happening in your seventh house. So yes, relationships, probably some major decisions, one-to-one relationships, unions are highlighted. So here when Mars is in your seventh house, just before we discussed the Mars and Saturn conjunction, an overall influence of Mars in the seventh house, it's generally Mars brings a lot of energy, a lot of drive to your relationships, partnerships, collaborations, and you might feel more assertive and more confident in reaching your personal, your professional goals, aspirations, and generally you might be more willing to take risks, especially when it comes to forming new partnerships or ending unhealthy ones. So this transit can also increase your social activity. You might feel motivated to connect with others and engage in some networking opportunities that may emerge around this time as well. However, here we need to also watch out for the negative influence of this transit, because let's not forget Mars will also oppose your first house. And here, with that in mind, or with this in mind, there could be a tendency towards impulsive decisions, especially the ones regarding partnerships, relationships, connections. So overall, it's really important that you think carefully about the decisions that you make around this time, and concentrate on building healthy, productive relationships. But at the same time, there could be also issues of boundaries that could come up around this time as well. Now, on the 10th of April, on the other hand, we've got Mars and Saturn conjunction in Pisces in your seventh house at 14 degrees. And this generally indicates a period of intense focus and effort even in your relationship zone, area, sphere, partnerships, collaboration. So overall, this could be a testing time for some, or challenges that could emerge. And during this time, you might need to confront some difficult issues and work hard to find common ground, to find compromise. So here it's really important to approach these situations with patience, with honesty, and also with willingness to compromise. And this is because this will help you overall to reach a fair and balanced resolution and a happy ending, a happy resolution, yes. Now, overall, this conjunction can also bring a sense of urgency and drive when it comes to achieving your goals, your desires, your objectives within your relationship, within your partnership. Here again, this shouldn't lead to any impulsive or aggressive behavioral patterns due to a possible impatient attitude towards achieving a certain goal or objective within a partnership, within a relationship. Libras, this is your sixth house. Yeah, so here we go. Here, what is highlighted is your health, your lifestyle, your well-being. During this time, Mars in Pisces can bring a lot of drive when it comes to your work, to work-related matters, to any potential desire to change your lifestyle. So here, lifestyle changes. Anything to do with your daily routine, health is highlighted, and you might feel really assertive and confident when it comes to reaching your goals and objectives, responsibilities. Perhaps you'll be more willing to take some risks in your professional life as well. Here, Mars will trine your 10th house, which is actually really great for productivity and efficiency in the work sphere. But also here with Mars and Pisces in your sixth house, this generally can also increase activity in your health, your fitness routines, and you might feel really motivated to change your diet, to change your exercise habits. So overall, with Mars in the eighth house, if you experience any obstacles or any conflicts with people from your everyday life, with co-workers, then you try to channel the excess of this Martian energy on doing something productive. And perhaps anything that could help you to simplify your daily life, anything connected to self-care, or perhaps anything that generally brings a little bit of fun and joy, because with Mars in the sixth house, usually there's so much happening in our daily life that we often find little time for ourselves, for something that gives us pleasure and joy. So watch out for a tendency towards overworking or burning out. Now, on the 10th of April, on the other hand, we've got Mars and Saturn conjunction in Pisces at 14 degrees. And this is the beginning of a new lunar cycle, of a new cycle between Mars and Saturn. But this could also bring about a period of hard work, discipline, and potentially some challenges, obstacles to overcome as well. But overall, even though it might be that your responsibilities might increase, and there could be lots of demands at work, at your work, generally in your daily life. Here, it's really important that generally you find a healthy balance between your work life and your personal life, because I think around the 10th of April, I think there could be a lot going on in your daily life. So here, during this time, you will have to remember about the healthy balance between work and self-care. But at the same time, I think that you will have to stay focused on your goals and just work hard, because your hard work will pay off. Even though during this time it might feel like your responsibilities increased and your workload as well. But if you just look at this phase as something temporary that will pay off in the long term, then it will be easier for you to generally overcome the energies present. But at the same time, really remember about self-care and for implementing a little bit of something, I'm not even saying fun, but something comforting into your day. You will need this. Okay, so now let's have a look at Scorpios. Scorpios, for you, this is actually quite meaningful because this is happening, because this is your co-ruler, your traditional ruler Mars. So whenever Mars changes signs, you might actually experience and feel this shift of energy. I know I do. So think about whether you can feel when Mars changes signs. I think Mars really influences each area of life differently, but I can definitely feel the activity in each house when Mars is present. Okay, so what's going on here? We've got the fifth house, so that creative self-expression and your romantic side of life, your business, self-employment, children. This is all really very much highlighted. And overall, Mars in the fifth house can bring so much energy, so much drive in that creative side of life. Self-expression is enhanced, and love life as well. So you might feel really more motivated or more assertive or more confident when it comes to anything to do with romance, anything to do with love, but also anything to do with your passion, your interests, art, creativity. And overall, this is when you might have this strong need to express yourself in some way, whether this is creatively, whether this is through dance or through singing. There is that need to generally release that energy and for generally having a little bit of fun. So overall here, yes. Now at the same time, there could be also increasing in your romantic side of life. So romantic activity, you might feel more passionate, more driven, when it comes to love-related affairs, matters, romance as well. I think, well, Saturn slows things down. Saturn brings so Saturn can bring cold and negative energy and energy connected to withdrawal, pessimism when it's here in the fifth house when it comes to romance, love. Mars is the planet of passion. And Mars can bring the spark that you have been lacking for quite some time since Saturn entered this area of life. And this is the first Mars transit in Pisces in the fifth house since Saturn entered this area of life. So I think this could play out in a really interesting way. Now, at the same time here, if well, there's a different side of Mars, of course. There could be some potential challenges or some power dynamics here. There's a tendency towards impulsiveness or some kind of recklessness, especially when it comes to pleasure, entertainment. So something to watch out for during this time. But overall, with Mars in the fifth house, this can be a really, really productive time and a time when that you can generally use to explore your creative side of life. And this is when you can express your passions while also being mindful of the potential consequences of impulsive actions. Now, here on the 10th of April, Mars will conjoin with Saturn at 14 degrees, and this can generally bring a period of intense focus, determination towards a specific goal, objective, anything to do with creativity, art interests, projects, work-related projects, business-related projects, and so on. And this aspect can also indicate a time of taking calculated risks and generally putting the hard work to achieve your goals in the matters related to children, romance, and self-expression. If you've been generally struggling to find love or to find romance in your your existing relationship, with Mars and Saturn conjunction here, you might see things from a different light and perhaps take little steps, more calculated risks, and feel more motivated to find love, to find more romance, to perhaps implement a healthier routine for your children, or perhaps to engage in some creative projects that could help you to express your creative urges in some way. Let's have a look at Sagittarius. Sagittarius, for you, this is happening in your fourth house. So here, family, children, and yet again, we are dealing with potential home-related renovations, as mentioned in the March horoscope that had a lot of influence here in your Pisces house. But with Mars here, you might feel very driven to repaint your house, to deal with some pipe work. Something suddenly might break during this transit that will need your attention here again. Anything to do with water, pipes, bathrooms, and water features in the garden. Perhaps you'll be building a pond, or you'll be getting an aquarium, or perhaps you will be fixing your radiators as well. I get radiators because of the water and the heat that is connected to Martian energy. Right. So I'm curious if anyone will be getting a red object for your home. That would be quite interesting to know. Okay, so that's here a little bit about that. But overall, with Mars in the fourth house, generally there's a lot of energy and drive to your home, family, emotional foundation dynamics. And you might feel more confident when it comes to reaching some home-related goals or objectives. Perhaps you'll be more willing to take risks when it comes to changing your living conditions or your living situation, or perhaps this is about addressing some family related issues that have been on your mind and you didn't have the motivation or courage to address them. Now with Mars, you'll feel more confident to discuss these issues. Now, this transit can also generally increase activity in your private life, in your domestic life. And overall, you might feel more emotionally charged and more even reactive during this time. At the same time, if you feel angry or restless at your home, then try to release this energy in a productive way. So here the cluttering and cleaning, this is also very prominent during this time, or perhaps gardening, sorting things out. Now, here on the 10th, Mars and Saturn will conjoin at 14 degrees of Pisces. And overall, here, yet again, we've got this domestic and family matters being brought to the surface. And perhaps you'll be making some important decisions connected to your home, to your family. Perhaps this is about taking action and making changes in the home environment. Perhaps there are some issues that need to be addressed or changes need to be implemented in the home environment during this time. Now, here, if you've experienced a sense of frustration, or perhaps if there's an obstacle that you need to overcome during this time, this is not a time to take risks. This is a time to be patient and overall take a step-by-step approach. Anything rushed and generally not thought through could generally lead to negative consequences. So it's important to approach any challenges during this time with patience, perseverance. Now, here, let's move to the next sign. Thank you very much. And we will now look at Capricorns. Capricorns, for you, this is your third house. The third house deals with short distance travel, communication, learning, studying, our siblings, next of kin. So lots of energy and drive here comes to your communication, learning, daily interactions. You might feel more assertive, more confident when it comes to expressing your ideas, your opinions. Perhaps you'll be more willing to take risks when it comes to your communication style. And generally, there could be an increased activity in your immediate environment. Perhaps you'll be taking short trips or interacting more often than usual with your siblings or your neighbors. It's important to be mindful of any tendencies towards arguments or conflicts. At the same time, here, watch your speed. Often with Mars in the third house, we drive faster than we realize. And be careful when working with sharp objects. On the 10th of April, Mars and Saturn will connect by a conjunction at 14 degrees of Pisces. And this can indicate the time of a very, very intense mental focus or communication challenges, perhaps. And at the same time, Mars and Saturn conjunction could bring a sense of urgency and maybe even a need to assert yourself in some conversations, in some debates. So here it's important to be mindful of any potential conflicts or even arguments during this time. And I think it's important to overall throughout this transit to approach communication with patience, with diplomacy, with compromise when needed. At the same time, here, Saturn and Mars conjunction can bring a strong, strong drive to learn, to acquire new knowledge, especially in areas related to technology, to communication, transportation, but also anything to do with working on a blog or perhaps working on a new business idea, for example. Okay, so now let's look at Aquarius. Aquarius, this is happening in your second house. Yes, so second house, that's your finances, your income. So overall, self-worth, self-esteem. When Mars is in the second house, very often we need to deal with expenses, and money seems to dissolve and leave our bank account very quickly and easily because you might be also very stimulated to acquire physical material objects during this time. So here Mars in the second house can bring a time of increased focus on material resources, finances, personal values. And here the second house is associated with money, with possessions. and also with our self-worth, our self-esteem. So when Mars moves through the second house, it can activate these energies in our life. Now, here with this placement also, you might feel more driven to earn money, to work on your financial situation. Financial security, stability is very much emphasized. And you might feel more assertive and confident when it comes to asserting your personal values, boundaries as well. And it's a good time overall for negotiating business deals, for asking for a pay rise, or for pursuing new financial opportunities. Now, on the other hand, here Mars in Pisces can also bring some challenges when it comes to overspending, when it comes to impulsiveness, or perhaps even conflicts over money, or perhaps over certain resources or possessions. So here it's essential to be mindful of your spending habits during this time, and try to avoid making impulsive or reckless financial decisions that could lead to negative consequences. So this is a time generally to focus on building financial stability, security, but also there's an opportunity for developing a stronger sense of self-worth, personal values as well. So here, if you take a more of a proactive approach to managing your finances and to asserting your personal boundaries, you can emerge from this transit feeling more self-empowered, more confident, in especially in your ability to create the life that you want. Now, here on the 10th of April, Mars and Saturn will conjoin at 14 degrees of Pisces, and this can generally mean that you might be dealing with a major financial transaction or situation, and perhaps this is also connected to some material possessions. So this transit, this conjunction could bring a really strong desire to work hard, to make money, but at the same time, it can lead to frustration. It can lead to some obstacles when it comes to achieving these financial goals. So here it's, I think you'll benefit from avoiding taking unnecessary risks, or perhaps making any impulsive decisions with money during this time. Here, as per that Saturnian influence, it's all about perseverance, patience, structure, stability. Now, let's have a look at Pisces. Okay, so hello Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope. Mars will enter your house, first house, your sign, on the 22nd of March. And here I've got the chart set up for the 10th of April just because of this conjunction. With Mars in the first house, you might find it easier to take charge of your life and to reach your goals, reach your objectives with more passion, with more enthusiasm. Here with Mars in the first house, you might feel more willing to take risks, to try new things. So you might find yourself starting something new, setting new goals, new intentions, starting new projects during this time, initiating some changes in your life while Mars remains in your first house. Now, on the negative side, Mars in the first house can bring challenges related to impulsiveness, to aggression. And Mars is associated with action, desire. And here in the first house, you might be more prone to impulsive or reckless behavior. And perhaps you might be more easily angered or frustrated during this time. If you feel restless, if you feel like irritated, then try to release the excess of this type of energies on doing something physical, on doing something that will help you to cool down, whether this is a walk, whether this is an exercise, or perhaps even meditation or cleaning the house. Sometimes it helps, just cleaning and decluttering of the house. Overall, Mars in the first house can be a time of self-discovery, personal growth, as you feel more empowered to take charge of your life. And at the same time, with Mars in the first house, you might have this inner need for a physical activity, for exercise, especially since Mars is associated with that physical energy. With Mars in the first, before I forget, be careful when working with sharp objects and knives, because Mars can make you more impatient, more impulsive, more dynamic, and you might be rushing with doing things. And here, yeah, watch out, sharp objects and you head injuries. Now, on the 10th of April, Mars and Saturn will conjoin in Pisces at 14 degrees. And this can generally be a time of increased discipline, great determination, focus. The first house is, of course, the house of the self, your identity. You might feel really motivated. You might feel a very strong sense of purpose, direction, even. Saturn is associated with structure, responsibility, limitations, discipline, while Mars is connected to energy, drive, action. When Mars and Saturn conjoin in your first house, this could indicate tension or a feeling of tension, a conflict, for example, especially when it comes to your personal desires to take action and practical limitations or responsibilities you are facing at this point in your life. So I think during this time, you need to look at the long-term perspective of whatever that you're dealing with rather than the short term, because at this point, it might feel like you have to implement a lot of um, effort and energy into whatever that you want to achieve. But if you don't look at it from a longer perspective, you might feel demotivated because you might not be seeing instant outcomes and results. So I think patience, perseverance, these are some of the lessons that may come up around this time. But at the same time, you might feel a strong sense of purpose. You might feel a very strong sense of responsibility, commitment to your work, personal projects as well. And this could be a good time for taking on new challenges and new responsibilities that require discipline, that require perseverance. So overall, here with Mars and Saturn, this could be a time when you will have to develop a more of a disciplined and patient approach to achieving your goals, achieving your objectives. And by putting the necessary work, you will feel more capable. You'll feel much stronger as well. Thank you very much.